They thought she was just a quiet, worn-out single mother trying to keep her farm alive. They saw her as weak, as prey. But what they didn't know was that she had once been one of the most feared and respected snipers in the U.S. Army's elite Green Berets. And the night they chose to target her farm was the night they chose the wrong woman. Subscribe to Kindness Tales. Your support truly inspires us to bring more emotional stories like this. The farm sat on the edge of a sleepy little town, surrounded by endless fields of wheat and corn that whispered when the wind blew. To the outside world, Claire Dawson was simply a single mother in her 30s, raising her 9-year-old son, Ethan, and struggling to pay off debts left behind after her husband had abandoned them years earlier. She sold eggs, fresh milk, and vegetables at the weekend market, kept her head down, and spoke to almost no one. Her life was quiet, predictable, and lonely. But Claire carried a past no one in town suspected. Years ago, before Ethan was even born, she had been Sergeant Claire Dawson, a Green Beret sniper who had seen battlefields in far-off deserts and jungles. She had earned medals for her courage, but also scars on her body and soul. She had walked away from that life to give her son a chance at something better. Life on the farm wasn't easy. Machinery broke down, the roof leaked during storms, and the bills kept piling up. Yet Claire pushed forward every day for Ethan. Her strength wasn't in her size or voice, it was in her will to keep going, no matter what. But not everyone saw her strength. A group of local bullies, young men from town who believed they owned every road and field, began targeting her farm. They drove their trucks too close to her fences, knocking them down. They shouted insults when they saw her at the market. One night, they spray-painted cruel words across her barn, calling her weak, pathetic, and easy prey. At first, Claire ignored them. She had promised herself she'd never turn back to violence, not even when provoked. But when they began scaring Ethan, blocking the school bus on its way to drop him off, laughing as he cried, Claire's patience wore thin. The breaking point came one stormy evening. The bullies decided to escalate their game. They crept onto her land, drunk and careless, planning to tear down her barn doors and ruin her stored harvest. One of them even bragged about how the lonely widow wouldn't be able to stop them. But Claire heard every word from her upstairs window. Ethan was asleep in his bed, and the storm's thunder masked the sound of her steps as she moved quietly through the dark. In the back of her closet, hidden beneath old coats, was a locked case she swore she'd never touch again. Inside was her sniper rifle, the same weapon she had carried across battlefields years ago. She touched the cold steel and felt a piece of her old self wake up. She didn't want to kill. She wasn't that person anymore. But she would protect her son, her home, and the life she had built. The bullies had no idea what they were walking into. They stomped through the mud, laughing, throwing bottles against her barn. One of them pulled out a crowbar, swinging it against the wooden doors. Then a single gunshot rang out, not at them, but into the ground just feet away. The echo silenced the laughter instantly. Claire stepped out from the shadows, her rifle steady in her hands, her stance calm and unshakable. "Leave," she said, her voice low but carrying over the storm. "You don't belong here." The men froze, unsure if she was bluffing. But Claire's eyes, sharp, cold, and unblinking, told them otherwise. In those eyes, they saw the soldier she once was, the warrior who had stared down far worse men than them. One tried to sneer, to act brave. "You wouldn't shoot us, you're just a farm girl." Claire fired again, this time into a metal pole beside his head, sparks flying. He dropped the crowbar and stumbled back, pale with fear. "I don't miss," Claire said quietly. The storm raged around them, but none of the bullies moved. Slowly, one by one, they backed away, muttering curses under their breath but too shaken to continue. Their trucks roared off into the night, tires spinning in the mud. When the silence returned, Claire lowered her weapon and closed her eyes. Her heart pounded, not from fear, but from the old adrenaline she had sworn she'd left behind. She hated having to show that side of herself, but tonight proved a truth she could no longer ignore. Protecting her son meant embracing the strength she once carried as a soldier. The next morning, news of what happened spread quickly through town. Some whispered that Claire had snapped. Others said she was dangerous, but most looked at her with newfound respect. the bullies never came back, and slowly, neighbors who had once kept their distance began offering help, bringing extra feed for her animals, repairing fences, and even buying more from her market stand. For Ethan, the fear he once carried was replaced with pride. "Mom," he said softly one night as she tucked him into bed, "you're the bravest person I know." Tears strung Claire's eyes, but she smiled. "I'm not brave, sweetheart. I'm just your mom, and that's the most important job I'll ever have." Claire Dawson remained the quiet single mother on the farm. But now, when people looked at her, they saw more than a struggling woman. They saw resilience, courage, and a reminder that true strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it stands silently, ready to defend what matters most. And for anyone thinking of crossing her path again, they would remember the night they discovered the truth. That the quiet single mother on the farm had once been a Green Beret sniper. Kindness Tales.